We're gonna show, one of his
Um,
beautiful, beautiful messages and videos and all that good stuff. And don't forget, mad shouts to the main man behind the glass, Mr. Mark Lee. How you doing, Mark?
I just popped in because for some reason we were having all kinds of static going on your intros and all of that. So actually, Angela Salerno was saying that she was having a hard time, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I don't know what's going on here, but she's agreeing. But just then we heard you loud and clear.
Now it's loud and clear?
Yes.
I don't know. Sorry, Angel. Yes, I was having a good time. So you know what, Mark? Rewind, rewind. We're gonna do that whole intro over again. And
Right.
It's good. Maybe you let me know how it sounds. All right.
Cool. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bounce both of us off, but I'm gonna start that 30-second count, and we're gonna start like we just started the show back over again.
Whole thing over again.
Cool.
Good time, yo. All right. What's happening? How you guys doing? Welcome to another edition of Funk from the Front Seat. Peace, love, and harmony. 9 on the Grind TV. Thank you for that, Angel. Sometimes doing live TV, we have to do it again. So hopefully it's a lot better. You can let me know. We're going to give our shouts out to Strong Island, up in Queens, Angel. My sister from another mister, I miss you. New York, you in the house. New Jersey in the house. Delaware in the house. Georgia, where you at? North and South Carolina, Virginia, y'all, Maryland, DC, they get funky for me, you know, doing that beat thing. Yeah. Ohio, where you at? Texas, Houston, Minneapolis, MPLS, Detroit, Motor City's in the house. What's going on, West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington State, Nevada, Vegas. I love you, Vegas. Yeah. Australia, Germany, where y'all at? Y'all good? I don't know what's going on with the technical difficulties. Australia, Germany, Dubai, Africa, wherever you guys are around the world, 9 on the Grind TV. Welcome to Funk from the Front Seat. I'm your host right here, number 9. And I'm going to sit back, relax, and we're going to chat it up. Our special guest today, John David Seton Black, is in the house. Guitar player extraordinaire, Club Funketeer ambassador. Hello to all my Funketeer ambassadors out there. And we're going to sit here and kick it a little bit. And my main man, Mr. Mark Lee, the man behind the glass with a plan, director, producer of the show. How you doing, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well out there. It's funny because we are so interactive, and I love being interactive. So hopefully that was a little bit better for you guys. Hopefully that intro was all right. I really don't mind doing things over and starting over again because I actually like it. It's kind of cool. I love doing the roll call. Welcome to the show. I hope everybody out there is in good spirits. Hope you guys are doing well. Right now, I'm going to bring my special guest, Mr. John David C. Black, as I constantly play with the screen and flip it. And we're going to bring him on. And we're going to chat it up a little bit. This man is an amazing guitar player, Club Funketeer ambassador. Writes some amazing songs. He's in that funk thing so heavy. You can always find him all over the place on social media. Welcome to the show, brother.
Oh, hello. Can you guys hear me? Oh.
Yes, I hear you. I got you.
Oh, good day, sir. Good morning.
Yes, I got you.
Oh, yes, sir.
I hear you. Yes, I hear you.
My name is John David Black. I'm a guitarist from Columbia, South Carolina. I play a lot of different genres of music. I also make.
Well, I'm gonna get to that. Can you move up to the screen a little bit because you're kind of in the dark? So just move up a little bit. I need to see you in the light, and I'm gonna get you the questions, bro. I'm gonna ask you all of that good stuff, man. I just want to make sure we get the technical issues, kind of worked out. Yeah, I need to see your face a little bit because it was dark a little bit. Yeah, hold on, a little bit more light. Got some more light for me? There you go, bro. That's what's up, man. So how you doing today, John?
I'm good. So yourself?
I'm all right, man. Everything is awesome, man. Thank you for joining the show. Sorry about the technical glitches in the beginning. A friend of mine from Queens hit me to that. Usually we don't have those issues. I don't know what it was. Mark will figure that out. But you're an amazing spirit. Also a Club Funketeer ambassador. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to definitely, play one of your tracks and a little bit of that dance thing just for a hot second. But anyway, you have this amazing mantra that I'm going to start there. And you're in South Carolina right now, right?
Mm.
Okay, yeah. You have this thing called Dreams, and it's demonstrating a real effort always makes success. And I'd like to start there because where did you first hear that, and who first put you in that mindset early on?
I came up with the acronym when I was in college. Originally, it was doing real effort, always make success, but then my mother decided to change it to demonstrating real effort, always make success. And then, because she's my manager and suggested that.
Okay.
But yeah, I decided that because I had made a record label because just to do it because I went to school to learn to be a music teacher, but I also like to make music. So I always thought about making my own record label and putting my own music and self-releasing stuff. So that's why I created it. And that's where I got the mindset for it from.
Right.
So yes,
what's your mother's name?
Gertrude Jones Black.
How are you, Mrs. Black? How are you? How you doing? You know, you have an amazing son. I haven't talked to him too much, but I can just tell by his spirit. So, hi, I see your hands. Hi, put your mom on the screen, bro. We
Oh,
gotta see that. We gotta see all moms.
oh,
We we gotta make sure we pay salute to the person that makes it happen before we go any further.
oh,
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
you too.
Welcome to the show. I always pay homage. Of course, I'm gonna pay homage to you if you're there. I didn't know you were realizing you were there, but thank you. Welcome to the show, and we're gonna get on with this interview with your son. But I'll bring you back at the end because I do want to ask you something. All right?
Okay, take care.
All right. Cool. Cool. Yo, man, that's mad cool, bro. That's mad cool, man. I love that. I love that, man. The fact that you got your mom next to you, man. That means that your spirit and your heart is most deaf in the right place, man. Again, here we're hanging out, with my man, my brother John David C. Black, and his mom is here with him, and we chatting it up on Nine on the Grind TV, Funk from the front seat, and we were getting into your mantra, dreams, and um, let's start with the demonstrating and understanding your musical talent and gift. At what age did you discover your gift and your talent?
uh, you 18 months.
18 months. Wow. Okay, so at 18 months, what were you doing?
I was pulling strings on a cradle in the crib like a guitar.
There you go. See, now that's what's up. See, God blessed you with that gift and that foresight to see that that's what you were going to be into. Forgive me for moving around a lot. I do my show live on location from my phone, as most people know. So sometimes the sun plays havoc ever since the time change. So that's why it's all screwed up, because technically it's only supposed to be 11 o'clock in the morning. But so you started pulling strings, you know, um, on your crib, understanding sound, understanding energy, and understanding the musical spirit inside of you. What age did you get your first guitar?
I got my first guitar. Well, I had a guitar that was my mom's guitar, that was my grandfather's guitar, that was always in the house. But when I was a kid, my cousin, he got a guitar for Christmas, and I wanted
Uh-huh.
a guitar for Christmas. I wanted that guitar. And then later on, I went to a pawn shop and I got my first guitar that way. And yeah.
Okay. So you came from a musical family.
No, not really.
Not really? Okay.
I got an uncle and I got a couple cousins that do it, but for the most part, most of my life, it's just been like really me doing music.
It's just been you. Okay. All right. Well, somewhere in your deep.
Also, my
I'm
mother
sorry,
also, yes, but
so your mother plays guitar.
well, she plays piano, but
Oh, she plays piano. Okay. Okay. Yeah, she plays the string. So yeah, I was gonna say you must have gotten it somewhere along the line in the DNA, man. So as you grew up, what prompted you before we get into the Hendrix thing, because that's what attracted me to you to begin with. Besides being a club funketeer and a brethren of mine and that wonderful thing that Patty and Bootsy do, um, what was it that attracted you to Jimi Hendrix? Because I really am always fascinated with guitar players that go straight to Hendrix, besides the other great guitar players that I'm going to ask you about.
when I was 12 years old, I went to this to a guitar store in Camden, South Carolina, and I saw this. At the time, I had listened to my favorite bands were like rock bands like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin at the time.
Right.
But then when I went and bought the CD, I seen this CD of Jimmy. It was like a compilation disc of Jimi Hendrix songs, and I went and bought it. And on the ride home, I listened to it, and I listened to the song "Bold as Love" by him. And when I listened to that guitar solo, that's why I said, "Yo, this guy knows what he's talking about when he plays this instrument. Like he understood what he was doing." So then that's why I like Jimi Hendrix a lot. Yeah.
So you automatically fed off his vibe and heard his voice as part of your voice. Because a lot of times, as musicians and artists, we have influences in our lives, and their voices always kind of bleed into what we're trying to understand as we grow as artists, man. And let me tell you, you couldn't have picked a better cat, because to me, he always will be the GOAT. There are so many other great guitar players, all the Funkadelic guys, all of them, Eddie Van Halen, and the list goes on and on and on. But Hendrix, he's the guy. He's the one that kind of broke apart and said, "Hey, guitar players, you could do whatever you want with the instrument and without it." And people don't realize Hendrix, he played about 26 different instruments. You know, I think he influenced guys like Prince and obviously yourself and people like that. When you first understood his message, if you listen to a song like Castles, Made of Sand and things like that, what do you feel inside when you listen to his songs, Under the Rainbow Bridge and things like that?
Uh, I guess well, I like history a lot. So the thing is, when I look at songs like Castle Made of Sand, I really get like storytelling because especially in the last verse in that song specifically.
Yeah.
So that's why I get a lot of from storytelling, almost how do I explain how classical Greek theater they would orate and they would recite poetry to tell stories like the Iliad, all that stuff. So that's why I get that kind of storytelling from that. That's what I get from Hendrix and others around that era, that era of rock music. We didn't get that. That's what kind of I get. Yeah.
Yeah, because Hendrix he likened a lot of Bob Dylan's music because he said he always loved the stories that Bob Dylan told. That's why when he did The Wind Cries Mary and Like a Rolling Stone and all that stuff, that Like a Rolling Stone to me, a lot of people like that. Obviously, everything that he did, but when I first heard Castles Made of Sand, that song made me cry as a kid. Like you said, the last verse is so emotionally deep. It takes you to that place where guitar players seem to be cats that can automatically just do that. So again, thank you, man, for your gift that you share with the world. Here we are hanging out on Funk from the Front Seat, John David Black, John David C. Black, Club Funkity ambassador, as well as my brother from another mothership, and we were talking about his mantra, dreams, real effort always makes success. So I know you live and breathe through that mantra because I saw it, a lot of different places, and I hear it in your music when I listen to it. And tell me a little bit about where you grew up at and what influences besides Hendrix that you were around.
Well, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and I grew up pretty much here my entire life. And other than going to the art museum and my mom taking me to the art museum and the local music scene around here, I spend most of my time just at home on the internet. And so I guess a combination of the time of just doing art stuff with school and out in the community, and then that alongside of just me going home to look up different stuff about art and stuff about music on the internet, then that's where I feel like the whole thing comes together.
Yeah. That's a lot of the classical. When you mentioned the Iliad, a lot of the classical stuff that I hear in your music. Excuse me one second. I hate when people do that. I am so sorry. I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
I am so sorry. Like people know not to call me. Here's the problem for everybody out there that's watching. Please do not call me on my cell phone when I'm shooting my show from my phone. I apologize to my guest, John David C. Black. What happened, John, and I can tell you really fast, just so you know what's going on. We had a death in our television family last night, so everybody was calling everybody because one of our producers, her husband passed away. So everybody was trying to get in touch with everybody this morning to relay that news. So to my audience, again, I apologize, but that's what that was about. Hopefully it won't happen. But again, I wanted to apologize to my guests because that never happens. So again, I apologize. But that's what that's about. It was like an emergency thing. But one of our producers, her husband did pass away last night, and I don't want to mention it, but now I have to because people saw what happened. So we were talking about your music and looking at the other influences and growing up in South Carolina, being a Hendrix fan. How did people understand that and take to that?
Oh, well, first, I'm sorry to hear about your loss.
Yeah, thank you,
Thing.
appreciate it.
Well, I will go to this place called Max on Main in downtown Main Street, 1710 Main Street, and I would play blues and jazz and funk and all these different types of music, and that's how I kind of started to practice this style of music and stuff. And
Right.
incidentally, I also saw Bob Dylan about 2 years ago when I was in Boston for school. I seen Bob Dylan live also, so I just throwing that out there. Also, yes, sir.
You went to school in Boston?
No, yes, Berklee School of Music.
Okay, that's what's up, man. So, are you? Because that was gonna be my next question, if you were self-taught or not. But obviously, you're trained. What other genres? Maybe because I can kind of hear you. You probably got into classical and all kinds of stuff. But you tell us, our audience, what genres you actually studied and when you went to that school.
Well, when I was there, I studied a lot of jazz and stuff.
Okay,
But
so you're a jazz guy.
no, I love jazz. That's like my second favorite genre, to be honest. Well, to be honest, bebop jazz is my favorite genre because like Charlie
Oh
Parker.
wow. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
when it comes to like if music was like science and we consider genius, etc., with science, that's how I feel about like jazz music, to be honest, because that was black excellence at its finest.
Yes,
And
it was.
people like Hendrix, they took the concepts because like people will say that Hendrix didn't understand this stuff, but like if you actually sit down and listen to what Hendrix was doing, he understood how to play this kind of. He knew how to play all this stuff, but he just played what he wanted to do because that was what he liked to do. But the thing is, I feel like this stuff was important to learn, and it makes you a better musician. That's just my opinion.
Getting back to that jazz thing, and the bebop especially, because I'm a drummer, bass player, but I play at bass, but I'm a drummer, and that's my forte. That bebop, when Dizzy and those guys started doing that, everybody back then that was outside of those circles called it noise. They called it this, they called it that. And here we are many years later where that art form is actually being taught and studied, and still the great of the great can't figure it out because those guys were so instinctively intuitive, and they were all cognitively aware of their genius, which is why they was able to make the music in the first place. And I always listen to jazz in my house. I listen to everything, but everything that those guys did back then, they were very, very much expressing, much like funk, much like hip hop artists, much like rock artists, their feelings of the time. A lot of that jazz, that scat, that bebop, they were speaking in tongues and code to people that understood it and got the message. Especially when it came to the bigger bands as the bands grew, because Louis Armstrong started a lot of that as well. If you listen to a lot of that early Louis Armstrong, and he's like, we can't get that. All his trumpet lines were actually scat and jazz lines that Dizzy and those guys took a little bit later, in addition to everything else. But all those guys are geniuses. Bro, let me tell you something. You come from a well-gifted spiritual environment inside your head. And that's not by accident. So, again, we're hanging out with John Davis C. Black. He has a serious mantra called Dreams, and I wish everybody would look on his page and follow this young brother because he's really on point with it. He's a Club Funkity ambassador, the most humble guy I ever knew. Keeps calling me sir, and I appreciated that. He kept calling me, so I kept saying, no, don't call me sir. But you come from obviously great stock. Your mom is next to you, and we appreciate everything that you do for the musical canvas in this world. So let's move on. So you go to school, you go to music school, and then you come back home, and you really start to develop your voice as far as the guitar. So once you figured out what your voice was going to be and how you were going to use it, did it come to you overnight? Did it come to you in a dream, or was it a natural progression?
About how I play guitar, or about
No, about your voice. Like most, musical instruments. When you hear that voice, that thing. When I watch you play, your guitar sings to me. It cries out with a soulful singing kind of voice on the guitar. So when you first started to develop that technique, how did you man, all kinds of crazy stuff happening today. How did you develop that guitar voice that I see on stage that I'm watching you play? Like, how did you develop that?
uh copying and pasting a lot of ideas from other people. Really, like
Okay.
stuff from other guitarists and mostly like saxophone players. Like when I think about it now, like I listen to like a lot. Like when I was learning guitar, I never really liked a lot of guitarists because I played guitar so much and I listened to guitar so much that I got disdained by how I didn't like the sound of the guitar because the tone of it. So then I like other instruments because they got a different sound that's not the guitar, but the way they would play the instrument, like Dexter Gordon, I like the way he would solo on an instrument, or Charlie Parker, he would solo on an instrument. And then Dizzy Gillespie, I like the way he would solo. But then even someone like Thunderfoot, like the bass player, that's modern bass player guy, I would listen to something that he would do and try to approach it. Or even someone like a bit from like yesteryear, like a Jaco Pastorius, someone else that would be.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, to get different ideas for how to approach the instrument. And that's why I like to learn other instruments, because I feel like if you learn the mechanics of the instrument, then you can figure out how the instrument works, and then you can just do whatever you want with any other instrument and transpose the mindset between guitar. Because if you know how the guitar is laid out, you can then transpose it to the piano or the saxophone, the flute, because they all have a similar. They all operate on music, so they all have a similar system of checks and balances on the instrument, and that's what I think about.
Yeah. Cool. When you mentioned Jaco, again, we're hanging out with John David C. Black, incredible young man, incredible human being, and I'm talking about all this other stuff before I even get to your music, because your spirit is so mellow. You have such a lovely vibe. And thank you for mentioning our producer, whose husband died. I won't mention her name, but thank you for that. That's very much appreciated, because my audience has to be wondering, like, what the hell is going on with the show. So for my audience out there, once again, I apologize. So but you know what they say, the show must go on, right? So when you are creating a song, and I know you play drums and keyboards and a lot of amazing instruments, but when you're creating a song, where do you start from? Do you start writing from the guitar aspect of it, or do you start writing from a rhythm, lyrical aspect of it?
It depends on the kind of song. So like if I was to make a rap song, like a rap song or something, I would just make the chords just like with the piano or something like that, or guitar, depending if I was the instrument. I usually think about the instrumental first, and then when I make the instrumental, then I come to making the chords. I make the instrumental first, then I make the lyrics fit the instrumental. Right. Because in the past, when I tried to write lyrics first, it doesn't go well. And because I have a bunch of lyrics, but then I have nothing that goes over it. But it makes it easier for me personally, like to play the chords first and then come up with some lyrics. That's just me personally.
Yeah. It's funny because everybody has their style and their writing thing. And to look at you, and plus Mark's going to show that picture. We found a picture, man. That one picture speaks volume, where you're just chilling, sitting on the bench. That speaks to your soul and your spirit and how mellow you really are. Let me ask you, are you really this laid back and mellow all the time? Because I'm from New York. So if I'm crazy and I'm jumping around and I'm hyped, first of all, you got three things working against you with me. Number one, I'm an Aries, fire, burning constantly. Number two, I'm from New York. And number three, I'm from the city for New York. So I'm constantly, that's why you see me like bouncing around and I'm bouncing off the walls down here in North Carolina, because I don't think this place can contain my energy. But are you really like laid back like this? Because this, to me, brings peace, comfort, and joy to those that watch you. When I watched your stage a few of your shows, I was like, man, I was sucked right in. Congratulations, by the way. You do something every Thursday. I think it is, right? Every Thursday you do it?
Thursday.
Every Thursday.
The 7:20.
Yeah, from 7 to what?
6:30 to 7:20.
6:30, 7:20. Yeah, I watched a few of those shows, man, and I was like, it's really cool to watch you perform and play. And I'm going to do everything I can to support that, brother. But are you really this mellow and laid back all the time?
Not really, because usually I'm usually at home, really, and
Yeah, there's that picture. Thank you, Mark. I love that. I love that. That's so much symbolism in that picture. And where was that taken at?
Well, okay, so I was taken at the State House in downtown Columbia, but actually there at the State House, that's actually the slave monument because they
Yes. They
used to have slave ships.
Yes.
Yeah, like they have a monument to like the slave ship, and it's on the ground, like in front, it has that like that paint that famous picture of like how they used to lay slaves out in as chattel on the North Passage. In the Middle Passage, they as lay out as chattel. So that's the mural that's on the ground that's in front of me, not like where the tile is, but the mural behind me is like a mural of different not specific black dignitaries from this era, but like a conglomeration of people of the era who fit the stereotype, not stereotype, but fit the what's it called, the description, in a sense, like it had like a Union soldier who was black on the mural, like that's the guy that's right behind me directly, and then there would be other people like a stand-in for like Jesse Owens, or a stand-in for like Sojourner Truth. That's what the people on behind the mural is behind. You feel?
Right. I think that because of that symbolism in that picture, that's what attracted me to it. My producer Mark liked it, and I was like, "Yo, try to get this on." And again, we were looking at your pose and how you're like, you're dedicating your to me, it looks like you're dedicating your spiritualness in music to those that came before you that made it possible. And I always appreciated that. And that's why I know you're like a funk angel down here. And I'm blessed and grateful and honored to have you on the show. Hopefully the second half of the show will go a lot smoother. We're going to take a second right now to run something from P-Funk Radio. Come back. We're going to look at one of your videos and talk a little bit more with John David C. Black. You hang out on the side right where you are. My brother from another mother, Mark, is going to run this little quick thing for us. We got to give a shout out to Peppermint Patty, to Bootsy Collins. We got to give a shout out to Benevolent Funk, Donna Sneed, Otis Hawk. We got to give a shout out to Tony Cam, Dr. Brookenstein, thank you. Dr. Bill Tresvan, thank you for supporting the show. All the Funketeers around the world, all the Club Funketeers, I love you guys to death. Also, down in Texas, besides P-Funk Radio and Keith Jackson, we also have Philly Phil Get on the Funk Bus. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And also, Kara, I love you. Thank you so much for doing what you do, and we're going to support you in what you do. So, Kara, how you doing? And everybody else, that sends peace and love. I'm hanging out with my special guest today, John David C. Black. And thank you for being so patient and such a benevolent funk soul, because we really, really do need more people on this planet like you. And I'm going to come back on the other side, and we're going to, after we show this thing from P-Funk Radio real fast, it's like a 30-second thing we always do. I'm going to ask you more about our ancestors, about how you relate your music today to what the struggle is, and we're going to look at a few of your videos, as soon as Mark gets this pulled up. And I definitely have to talk to you.
This is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Keith is mad cool, he makes sure all the Funketeers gets their music heard, man. So, John, we're gonna set up this first track of yours, and it's pretty cool. It's not the track of the line dancers, it's the other track that we're gonna show. And once Mark gets that set up, but I was listening to it. It's got kind of hip hop bouncy dance feel to it, man, and I really like it. That's why I kind of chose this one. And if you'd like, I'd like to have you back on for part two and part three at some later dates. I'd love to have you because
Yes, sir.
there's so much to chop up in an hour and a half that sometimes we can't get to it. So, what do you think?
Oh, I'm available, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, that works, man. While Mark is pulling that up, I noticed you got your guitar there. Are you gonna play for us? You gonna give us a little something?
Oh, if you would like, yes, sir.
I would definitely love it. Mark, before you pull that video up, this brother's gonna play something. Put him on full screen for me. Thanks, man.
That work. Well, I'll just play a couple of yeah, that was who's that lady? Isley Brothers.
That has when you those chords and that fingering and that soulful flavor that you have is truly the gift, man, that I was talking about. And for those of you that didn't know this, brother, that's what I was trying to explain. That's that voice. That's that voice. That's your voice. And that's amazing, man. I love that, man. So play a little something else for us, man. We got time. It's all good, bro.
Well, okay.
Jimmy proud. Jimmy would be proud. Jimmy would be proud. Obviously, for those of you watching, that's John Davison Black. This brother down in South Carolina is crushing it down there. Such a beautiful spirit. You can find all this information on the bottom of the screen. Welcome to Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV, man. We appreciate everything that you do. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and run one of your tracks right now. When Mark gets that all queued up. And for those of you out there watching, today was a weird day, but please, join us. Stay, active and stay on the chat. Everybody that's watching, we love you. We're gonna always bring the real to you. So y'all check this out. Sit back, relax, man, and y'all check this out. It's pretty cool.
Oh, hey.
What's up?
Oh, I think I saw one of my classmates.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Let them know. Shout them out.
Oh, howdy, DJ Desmond. Yo, what's up?
I love this.
Yeah, that was David Glim and RJ on bass and Corey Pies drum program. David Glim was background, and I play guitar. Right.
Yo, man, I love this, man. I love this, man. I'm gonna ask Mark to drop that out for a minute so we can continue our interview. I love it. I love it, man. You're listening to the sounds of John David C. Black, um, demonstrating real effort. Always makes success. Now, you had a few people, chiming in. DJ, how you doing, Pat? Desmond, I'm Dr. Brookenstein. For everybody watching, 9 on the Grind TV, this is your host, number 9, Funk from the Front Seat. We can hear your jazz roots all through that, and your theory and everything. So when you're thinking about a track like that, and you're writing, a canvas, right? Who were some of your jazz influences?
In terms of jazz, everyone from Wes Montgomery to Charlie
I
Parker.
can hear that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who else? Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Ron Carter.
Right.
Who else? Wayne Shorter. Barry Harris. Oh yeah, this guy Barry Harris, because he's still alive, and he does a workshop every Saturday, and I've been going to his workshop for a couple of weeks. But he's a genius. He's a good teacher. Barry Harris. Yeah.
Hi, Barry. How you doing? Hopefully we get him on the show. Y'all can come on and chop it up. See, one thing about Funk from the Front Seat, we keep it so real and so organic. However the flow goes is how it goes. That's why we're able to manipulate through all kinds of things. You know the saying, Sir knows devoid of funk. Be trying to mess with us. But Bootsy says the power of the one. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into that for a minute. Shout out to the Club Funketeers and the Club Funketeer ambassadors. Somebody says, Klug and George Benson influences.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. My producer, Mark. And
Mark, Klug, a long time ago.
Yeah. And Mark is going to pop on at the end of the show, too. He always has one question. I can hear him scratching at the glass. Yeah. So he's gonna pop in, too. So I got to keep him at bay. Because you see how he just bum rushed the question, right? He's just like, I got to get in. But, yeah, Mark, we love you, man. I love you. So, yeah. But how did you come about to be a Club Funketeer ambassador? And how did that whole thing start?
Well, it started when I met Tony Wilson at Eisenberg
Brown
2 years ago, and and then I maintained a correspondence with him for the past couple of years, and he let me come with him on some gigs when he was do his James Brown Saves Boston review twice, and in 2017 and 2018, and then I've just been in correspondence with him, and then he introduced me to his sister, Miss Cheryl, I believe, and they introduced me to everyone else, and to you, sir, Mr. Zach.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. So growing up with all of your classical training, going to school up in Boston, how did you begot the whole P-Funk kind of vibe thing? What drew you to that, if any? And how did you first discover P-Funk? Because everybody's got their story. So I would like to hear yours.
So, how I explain it? So, before I got into P-Funk, when I went to this place, Max on Main, I used to go there and I would be trying to play Hendrix stuff. But then one day, and this was the white guy who told me this, and he's a bass player around my age. He told me about, you should listen to some James Brown. And at the time, I didn't know who he was. I mean, I knew about I Feel Good and a couple songs, but I never really listened to him, his entire discography before that. And so So what happened was, I then went and looked him up some more. But now I take the story back a couple years further, because when I was a kid, I remember watching a documentary on VH1, and it was a documentary on James Brown. Actually, James Brown Saves Boston, this documentary. And in the clip, they had Bootsy playing, but he was with his brother when he was younger, because they both were in his band. And so because of that connection, then I drew that connection, and I went back and did more research, and then that through Bootsy led me to finding about P-Funk. But then my friend RJ, who's the bass player on that song Oceans that we did, he also introduced me to P-Funk with some songs, because what was it? It was a lot. Actually, everybody I knew that around Max on Main, everybody, they taught me all these different songs from P-Funk, what else was One Nation Under a Groove. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That one. And and Flashlight and a whole bunch of other stuff. That's the first song I heard at school when I went to Berkeley. They played that in like the commencement ceremony. Actually, that was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. That whole funk thing, a lot of it started where it started, but the rest of us that are continuing to keep it alive, is very important. Benevolent Funk and Otis Hogg say we are the keepers of the funk. Next exit. So we are the keepers, and we have to continue to keep doing it. I love the fact that you're into all types of genres and all types of music. So we're going to show about 1 minute of and Mark's been instructed 1 minute only of the Club Funketeers line dancing song that you did. And the reason is because I want that to stand on its own. I want this show to be just about you. But because you were part of that, I'm going to show just a short portion and give people a little insight as to your versatility. So while Mark is setting that up, being a Club Funketeer is pretty cool, man. And what are some of the cool things that you find about being a Club Funketeer ambassador?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I like the radio show the most.
Okay.
Like Larry's radio show. That's the thing I like the most. 'Cause I be listening to it a lot. And
Funkster Jones.
yeah, I be listening to it a lot. Actually, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
we're hearing some tunes that I heard before, but then some tunes that I never heard before. And like,
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah. Larry, he does what he does, man. He's good. P-Funk Radio, that whole thing, man, because they play a lot of my music, Nappy and Funk Army stuff on there as well. So that whole thing, Robin.
You say your group they played?
Yeah, they play all my stuff there on P-Funk Radio. Yeah.
Oh,
I got 3 tracks on there.
I've heard it. I just trying to remember.
I'll send it to you. One is called Revolution. The other one's called Beast Mode, True Funk Soldier. The other one is called Spiritual Purpose. But I'll send it to you. This is about you today, brother. So we want you to shine on this, man. We'll get into my thing some other time. But yeah, man, I'll send you some stuff, man. But this was one of the line dancers videos. And as soon as it loads up, we're going to try to make this happen. But it just shows your versatility.
How it go? Got that new thing for you now. Wow. Right now. When I knew, grab a waist, side to side, we gon' slide up in the place. Then go back, Jimmy Sun, we gon' snap, make it shake, make it clap, turn around and walk it back. Come together, circle that, that's the way we shovel that. Grab a waist, side to side, we gon' slide up in the place. Lean forward, then go back, Jimmy Sun, we gon' snap, make it shake, make it clap, turn around and walk it back. Come together, circle that, that's the way we shovel that. You understand, this one like to feel the rhythm of the night, left to right. In my bag, ain't no reason to accept what you had. Offer that you finding me on the track with my girl, the party back and shuffling the beat is less. If you solo reach the top, everybody keep it high. Pull it down, touch the ground. Everybody feel the sound. Pump it down, pump it up. Watch them wiggle in the cut. So now you know I got this pop it win like this. So keep it high.
Yo, that's tight. I love the fact that, and we're going to be running this, at some other point too. I love the fact that you got deep into that, because when you see me bouncing like this, that hip hop feel, and I'm into all types of hip hop. I listen to everything from Mahalia Jackson to Tupac to Eminem to the Five Blind Boys to Funkadelic, whatever. I listen to everything. Beethoven, Bach, Brahms, music from India. I cover all genres only because that's how my headspace is at, man. But your versatility, jazz and rock, and influenced by your mom, and and it's in your DNA. And you go to school from South Carolina, you go up to Boston, you're up in the North, and you're dealing with all of that, and those influences. Then you can throw down a Earl Klug type jazz feel, which is your own thing, John. You're such a well-rounded, gifted, talented man when it comes to what you're doing with this gift, and the universe owes you a debt of thank you, and I'm saying it for the universe. Thank you. I'm going to ask right now, if we can, to see if you can slide your mom on, because I do have one question, a couple of real quick for her, and then I'll bring my producer Mark on. Yeah, here we are hanging out today with John Davis C. Black. It's just such a beautiful thing to see this young brother.
This is good.
How are you?
Hi,
How you doing? Tell everyone your name.
Trudy Jones Black.
Trudy Jones Black. Well, Trudy Jones Black, your son is amazing, and I can see he gets it from you as well. Um, just listening to him, talking to him throughout the past couple of months, and all of that good stuff. How I know you're a proud mom. At what age did you first see your son's gifted talent? He said 18 months. When did you see it?
Well, actually, it was around 7 months is when he started yanking the chords from his crib. And then he took kinder music. That's when he could officially take his first lessons at
Right.
8 months. But you see this piano behind me. This was from his
Yes.
grandmother's house from the 1960s, where myself, my sisters, and my brother took piano lessons. And they all abandoned it, but I kept it going. And so even in vitro, I would play all the classics. And of course, I'm from the Motown, Sounds of Philadelphia, sax music, and all that era. So he got
Yeah.
even before he was born.
Yeah. You know what? It's just the apple don't ever fall far from the tree. That's so true. Because as soon as I saw the piano in the background, this is why I wanted to ask you on. I was like, I know there's a story behind that piano, and we'll get into that on another show. But that's the spirit of how we are as Black people. Can John squeeze back in there? Because I have a question for both of you that I want to ask. But stay there. Yeah, man, stay there, man. Yeah, this is beautiful, man. You know what I'm saying? So check this out. Again, we're gonna go back to that photo of Black history. And John, you and your mother are Black history. I honor all brown and black skinned people and everybody of this country that makes history. Hi, Pat. I love you, Pat. Because as you live, we shouldn't wait until we're no longer on this plane to recognize Black history. So I say that with all due respect to everybody that passed on and came before us. But what about being an Afro-American man and woman does relates to how you put out your music and how you see yourself as an artist?
He's asking.
Oh, well, it makes me evaluate and look at the terrain in which we're releasing music these days, and so that's what it really makes me do. Because I know racism isn't as overt as it was, but racism still is as overt as it was in yesteryear, and it probably will continue that way for a while. But I noticed that there are certain things that you can do as an artist to propel forward, and I'm trying to do these certain things that I've noticed to propel forward.
Right. So let me ask your mom. When you hear his music and you hear all the different influences, do you feel a sense of pride that he's taken a lot of his roots that he got from you, Sound of Philadelphia, TSOP, and all the stuff that you mentioned? Do you feel a sense of pride? And I'm sure you do. Explain to me that feeling you have inside when you hear your son perform.
Yes, I do, because I'm from an apostolic background, and we pay so much tribute and homage to the ancestors as well as the elders. And so I've always instilled that appreciation in him. And also moving forward, I was an educator for about 40 years. And
God bless you.
And my husband liked to say, you're out there saving everybody else's child. Let's save our own. And so my mantra is TEACH, which is an acronym for Take Every Action to Change Humanity. And so I try to make sure that he can have an impact on not just my generation, his generation, but generations to come.
Yo, that's so cool. And thank you for being an educator. And I can see where this young man gets his humility from. God bless you both, because I love this. This is what I love. This is why I do this show. My mantra on this show is peace, love, and harmony. And I've been blessed to pivot since COVID and we can't perform. God put me, the creator put me in a position to try to do this. And this is the most important thing about this show. Yes, the music is, but what we're doing right now, sharing this peace, love, joy, and energy and positive messages with our audience. And for those of you out there watching, please go back and rewatch this show again. All our shows are saved. You can store it. We're hanging out with John Davison Black and his mom Trudy, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and you're on Funk Music. I mean, Funk from the Front Seat, and Nine on the Grind TV. Today's been a very interesting day in a lot of ways that we could talk about off the air. But I'm going to bring in my producer right now before I ask my final question. I usually have one, but stay here, Trudy, because I got one last question for you and last statement that I want you guys to make. Even though the show today is all about John, I love to see where it comes from. And my audience loves to see that as well. Mr. Mark Lee, my producer, director, Mark Lee, John, Davis E. Black, and his beautiful mother, Trudy. What do you have for them?
Well, one, I was just going to say that was some amazing music. I was glad to hear John David Black perform for us both live, as well as the one video that we pulled up of his. But truly, you are a great and gifted musician. I've had the pleasure of working with some musicians here in the Durham, North Carolina area that come out of the jazz community, and you are definitely following in some of their traditions. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Art of Cool Jazz Festival, but if you're not, I'll definitely be telling them about you, because you definitely should be playing that festival. And of course, it didn't happen last year because most festivals didn't happen because of COVID and all of that. So a lot of folks weren't able to perform, but I know that they are planning, and I think they're planning for this year or definitely in 2022. But one of the things I was curious about was kind of your influences. And like I said, I'd mentioned Earl Klugh and George Benson, but I'm also thinking that you were probably influenced by a number of great Carolina musicians as well that come out of the tradition of jazz, whether that be Thelonious Monk or whether that be John Coltrane or a number of others. So I was wondering, as you were studying your music and everything, what kind of influence the Carolinas gave to you? Because definitely there have been some great jazz musicians that came out of the Carolinas, being both North and South Carolina. But I was just wondering those local ties and what kind of influences they gave you.
Well, when I was a kid, I used to know this saxophonist, Skip Pearson. He was the jazz ambassador of Columbia, South Carolina, but unfortunately passed away like 2 years ago. And now the current ambassador is a trumpet player named Mark Rapp, and he was one of the influences I knew. But I also knew this blues guitarist from Columbia, South Carolina. His name is Drink Small. I don't know if you may have heard of him before, but he's a pretty good guitarist. And he told me something when I was a kid, and it kind of always stuck with me. He said something about I like guitar and like distortion and all that stuff, because like rock music and Hendrix and stuff like that. But he said you should always play clean, because then people will know who you are. Because if you play with too much distortion, you'll sound like everybody else. And that's something that always stuck with me, and I've always kept that in my mind. That's why I like to play jazz a lot, though. That's just me personally, but I like the distortion and all that stuff because it's fun. But in terms of South Carolina influences, mostly it would be mostly contained to people I see on the daily in my life, like from my music teachers to people I perform with and to other musicians I see. But the only I guess prominent person other than James Brown I could think of from South Carolina that came out of the music, and Hootie and the Blowfish with Darius Rucker, I would think would be actually Dizzy Gillespie, because he came from Sherrod, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I know Mark is a blues guy, and
yeah,
you mentioned one of his blues guys. So Mark is into that. So, Mark, you have a question for Trudy?
Oh, well, definitely. Trudy, as Zach said, you have definitely influenced this young gentleman in a lot of different ways and everything. But I was also realizing that you mentioned your spiritual gift and everything, and that was wondering how important that spirituality was in the way that you're raising him and in the way you're helping him develop his music. And by the way, while I wait to hear from Trudy and everything, I did have the pleasure of seeing Drink Small perform one time, and so I definitely do know the blues and am familiar with Drink Small, and also had the pleasure of seeing Dexter Gordon when he was alive. So definitely I've seen a couple of your legacy folk. But Trudy, I'd love to know your thoughts about spirituality and how that's important in the way that you're raising this young man.
Well, it was very important because I was the youngest child of 14, and my dad used to say that I was the last button on Abraham's jacket, And so from that, I gleaned that, God has a purpose for everybody, but you don't have to experience everything. And I would come to believe that, they say experience is the best teacher, but I always taught my children, the fool who's gone before you can be the best teacher and save you from a lot of headache and heartache, because at the end of the day, we are going to have to answer to God and be true in all that we do.
Yeah, that's deep. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you. You guys, it's been such an amazing journey of peace, love, and harmony today on Funk from the Front Seat. And again, for those of you out there watching, we appreciate your support. We love you. Forgive us today because we had some technical issues going on. But God is good, and we get through all of this with His grace, right? And before you go, Trudy, I'll bring John back on, his last question. But I wanted to ask you, as we go forward, and we've all had to pivot now in COVID situations and worrying about how we're going to book stuff. I know my band is dealing with all of that. You're his manager. How are you looking at the new protocols and safety issues that are going to have to be in place for us to go forward and get that live thing back?
Well, I'm leaving that to the scientists and professionals to direct us in that. But until that does happen, we'll just continue to do the virtual as much as possible. And JD didn't mention this, but he has a long history of virtual because he was homeschooled through middle school and high school. He technically had only 1 year of high school, that senior year that everybody has to have. So he was very comfortable with a lot of the virtual. But we're looking out for anything that comes along on a face-to-face scene. We're ready for it, and we're just taking all the precautions. And of course, I've had my shots, and so as well as my husband, and so we're just trying to practice social distancing, wearing a mask, and doing all the other things that the scientists recommend.
Yeah, I'm going to be in touch with you because I actually do another show on another network on Sundays, and I would like to have you both back. But I would like to ask John, and I'm going to ask him to come back on and, my other thing and do like a virtual concert, and you can set up your tip jar and all that other good stuff and, try to earn. So I'm going to make that happen only because, that's just what I like to do. And I think it'll be cool. And my other show is always on a Sunday. So, I think what you just mentioned, Trudy, is so important. We've all had to pivot. We all got to trust the scientists. We all got to trust what the Spirit is telling us. And we all just have to believe that inside we're going to make the best decisions. You know what I mean? And you guys got two halos over your head right now. I cannot. And matter of fact, I cannot. I seen a cardinal fly by when John was playing before. You know what the cardinal means, right?
Yes,
Right. I'm serious.
One right there on the piano.
See. Now I didn't see that on your piano because my phone doesn't give me that option. But
See the lantern?
But I was just going to tell you, see, this gets me excited because the cardinal flew like 2 inches from my hood and then stopped and then bounced around and was flying around when his song was playing. So I know that's nothing but the Spirit right there. See how the Spirit works? That's a beautiful thing. So any last final thoughts, Trudy, for our younger audiences and for our audience that wants to get in this music game before I go back to John?
Just to follow your dreams and not be so influenced by people who just for the moment, because people come and go in our life for a reason. And
Yeah,
so 10 years from now, they may not even be around, but whatever your reputation is and your image is, that will always follow you.
That's right. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to meet you. I know your name is Trudy, but I got to call you John's mom. That's a New York thing. So that means I really love you. If I skip over your name and give you the nickname, that's a New Yorker's way of saying we embrace you, we love you. That's just what we do. So thank you so much for hanging out. We've been hanging out today with John David C. Black. Amazing. And John, I'm going to give you the last word. It's your show, brother. It's always been about you. First of all, Club Funkity Ambassadors, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, Cheryl and everybody out there watching. And we're going to talk about something at the end of this show. But before you go, John, any parting thoughts to the world about peace, love, and harmony, and your mantra of dreams?
It really is that simple. Like what you said, peace, love, and harmony. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And I feel like that's the problem with the world. We tend to do too much when it can all be so simple.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that. Let me ask you, or obviously, did you? What's your? And I just always have a one off the wall question for my guests. What is your favorite or one of your favorite Bob Marley songs?
Favorite Bob Marley songs? Kinky Reggae.
Okay. I always usually throw like a curveball to my guests because I like to just put stuff out there that I feel. I'm an empath. You know, I have certain gifts or whatever, and I don't know if they call it psychic or whatever, but I feel certain things. Like the thing with the cardinal, that was not by accident. That's designed by the creator. So the reason why I say that is because I hear or I feel a lot of his peaceful music coming through you and your music. Does that make sense? And I can't explain it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can't explain it, but that's just what I feel.
Thank you.
So where can people find, your next Stage It show and where they store it at and how can they get to it? Tell people where you at, bro.
Well, my Stage It shows, they're usually live on the website Stage It, and you can just go into the website Stage It or reach out to my mother, our manager, and she'll help you get a ticket for the Stage It show. And if you miss the Stage It show, you can go onto my personal YouTube channel because I usually record them and upload them for reciprocity's sake on YouTube. So just type in John David Black on YouTube. You can find my Stage It shows. But then if you want to find my streaming music, you can find it off of my personal website or all streaming platforms. You just type in my name, John David Black. And what else? And if you're around Columbia, South Carolina at the moment, I perform when.
There you go. Where can people buy your music at?
Spotify, Apple Music, all streaming platforms, or my website.
Okay, that's what's up, man. And do you have any new swag, shirts, hats, anything like that?
I got this shirt right here, but I got a few for sale, but you have to hit my mother up and me up, and I could exchange that information for that. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Trudy, if you're listening, I endorse all shirts, hats. I wear XXX, so send me one and I'll wear it on the show. Whatever you want me to wear, I'll wear it. Hat, shirt, whatever. Send me and I'll make sure I wear it on the show because I always cross promote every artist that comes on. Yes, sir. Send me XXX. I'll give you my address and everything. And this is how secretly Mark's laughing because I know he's laughing at me. This is how secretly I build up my wardrobe. Because I ask all my guests for shirts and stuff like that. And normally we do a roll call, but John, you have your guitar in your hand. I want you to leave my audience with the last words on your fingertips. Go for it, bro.
Stay blessed, all. Be safe.
Thank you so much. I'll see you next time, bro. I'll be in touch. Thank you, Trudy. You guys, please follow John David Black. This brother is on fire. He's so humble. I love having him on the show. He's going to come back and do a part 1, 2, 3, and 4. He is also a Club Funkature ambassador and did a little something for the line dancers and roller skate dancers as well. So for everybody watching, y'all know how we do. It's time for me to get out of here. I'll talk to you later. Mark, give me the full screen so we can blow it up. Thank you, Mark Lee, my main man behind the glass. And let's get our shout on.
Yeah, coming at you.
There's a spiritual purpose. I need everybody out there clap your hands.
I want you to get up on this one, all right? Come on, join us. This is how we gonna kick it.
Shout out to Columbia, South Carolina,
This is spiritual purpose.
Virginia, Kentucky, New York City, Dubai,
The Lord
India, Germany, Australia, Long Island, Strong Island, I love you, my home. Weave, what's up? Philly Dilly, how you doing, DC? California, Nevada, Vegas,
calling me
9 on the Grind TV, Funk from the Front Seat,
4 months.
Ohio, Detroit, Canada, Minneapolis,
What a slave.
Georgia.
1,000 miles
I like saying Georgia.
away from the
We love you.
land.
Stay strong. Watch your back.
What have we done
Texas.
wrong? We don't understand.
I love y'all.
There's a spiritual
You know there's a spiritual purpose, right? Funk from the Front Seat. 9 on the Grind TV right here every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Man, woman, boy,
Woo, it's been a hot show today. Little shaky on the takeoff, but as long as we land this plane, we are good.
things we don't understand.
Woo! I see you rocking out there.
Yeah, girl, you fell in love.
Listen to Nappy Head Funk Army, y'all.
9 months later.
Shout out to Benevolent Funk. Philly Phil, get on the Funk Bus, B-Funk Radio. Tony Cam, Joe Keys, I love you. Dr. Trentman,
Now the father's gone.
Dr. Brookenstein, I love you. Thank you for endorsing me, bro. This has been another great show. They're always organic. As always, I love my audience. Y'all stay straight, stay safe. Understand our mission down here. Understand why we are here. It shouldn't be about I, me, or mine. It should be about how can I help my brother or sister achieve. Let's not stand on the backs of others to reach our goals. Let us pull each other up together. Let us always be diligent and understanding our purpose down here on this planet is to make it to a higher level. The Creator sees everything. None of us are perfect. We're all flawed in one way or another. So just know that no matter what you're going through, God got you. We got you. If you feel in some kind of way and you need to reach out to me, please reach out. Anybody that might be feeling like they want to hurt themselves, we're very big on that. If there's any type of abuse in your family, please reach out to us. If we can help you, we will. If you're going through something and you just need somebody to yell at, call me. I got good ears. You yell at me all day long. I don't mind. You can vent, whatever. I'm your host, number 9, Funk from the Front Seat. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I love you. I see y'all later. Nine on the Grind TV, Funk from the Front Seat. I'm out.